I don't know how many interviews I've had to explain this already, and I'm not going to go into it again. Hi, you're watching Two Dumb Guys. I'm Stuart, and this is Helmsley.
That's not our names. Do it again.
Hi, you're watching Two Dumb Guys. I'm Brian. This is Ed.
What happened to Stuart and Helmsley?
They're dead.
Hello, beautiful people.
You are beautiful people.
Today, I thought we'd do a little something different. I want you to get to know us. Because we, whether you believe it or not, are actually very interesting people. Right? Very interesting.
Sometimes.
Dude, you own a town.
Well, I don't talk much about it because I don't want people to think different of me because of my assets.
Okay, beauties. Brian owns a town. However, he wasn't too creative with the name because he called it Briantown.
If you own a town, okay, you know what? Like Kim Basinger or Basinger. I don't know how she says her name.
Yeah.
She bought Brazelton, and she's like, she didn't name it Kimville. She just left it Brazelton. It's like, why? Yeah. Why would you do that? Of course, I buy a town. It's Briantown. Briantown. What else am I going to call it?
But what I've noticed when looking through the Wikipedia article on Briantown was that your town has gone through a lot of town slogans.
Yeah.
Like a whole lot. And what I want to do for the beauties out there, for the lovely people, I want you to give them a little context about your town slogan. Just tell me what was going on in the town. What prompted these slogans?
Okay.
Okay, the first one on my list is the Briantown with the hole.
Okay. I got confused because I thought there was another Briantown in Mississippi.
Okay.
And it was just like this flat chunk of land, nothing special about it. And we had this big hole, which some kids have fallen down and died. It was like the Baby Jessica down the well, except a little less of a happy ending.
I remember that.
And we were like, well, it's really the only thing that people knew about was people falling down that hole. So it's like, let's differentiate between this and the other Briantown with the hole. Yeah, easy peasy. And it is the other Briantown. I was wrong. It was like Barndale or something.
What was the deal with Do the Briantown?
I have been watching Family Matters. Do the Urkel. I was like, well, I need something like that because Do the Urkel. It's catchy. It's
snappy. It's popping.
Yeah, it's top 40 material. I want to be a top 40 town in Georgia.
Did it bring any new residents?
No, actually, the Smeagol's moved away, so we actually went from 547 to 543. But people move occasionally. We generally don't like it. We try to prevent it from happening. And, you make threats. You do what you do, but they all died shortly thereafter in a fiery car crash. But I don't really want to talk about that because it's unrelated.
Maybe losing some people. You tried to get some back with your next slogan, which was "My doctor says Briantown."
Yeah.
Advertising yourself as a cure-all.
Well, we have some natural springs down there. Well,
so you're like Sedona.
Technically, they're swamps. If you come to Briantown and you drink this water from our natural springs, also known as swamps, whatever, bureaucratic bullshit, you will enjoy a more, I believe what the physicians call a general feeling of healthfulness. You'll be more healthful, not healthy.
Technically, not healthy.
I want to make it
healthful.
It's an important legal distinction.
Okay.
You won't be more healthy. You'll be more healthful.
You'll actually be less healthy, probably.
I
think you guys are a Superfund site.
Well, okay, the whole Superfund that was blown out of proportion. I don't know how many interviews I've had to explain this already, and I'm not going to go into it again.
Next slogan was the Briantown effect.
I had a dream wherein I was visiting Briantown. I don't live there.
Well, who would?
It's
dangerous.
It's
unhealthy.
Well, we'll come back to that. It's healthful. I had a dream where I found some sort of mathematical constant, like a theorem that I established in the dream that would make people taller. And we started monitoring children in the area over the course of like 10 years, starting when they were about 9. And we found that in almost every single case between the ages of 9 and 19, those children grew by applying this mathematical theorem. Yep. Now, this part is all in the dream. So we applied it in real life, and we found out that those children did in fact grow on average a great deal.
That is amazing.
Between the ages of 9 and 19.
Jesus,
I don't think any other town can claim anything like that.
Did the growing have something to do with your next slogan of an army of Briantown?
Yes, because that's when we had our biggest population boom, because at that point I believe we went from 250 to 312 residents.
Okay.
And it was more about we were looking at, strife in the world around us, and we're actually technically for about 14 hours a sovereign nation. We were ready for what might come. We militarized and we set up some bunkers and some forts and some
okay, so
by bunkers I mean like metal buildings with bunk beds.
So you got a little culty there for a minute there.
Not culty.
Well, I like military.
Is Canada a cult? Is Spain, is that a cult? No, they're countries.
You moved on to, Briantown?
We were trying to be more hip.
Yeah?
And
like get with the kids?
Yeah, and I found the thing that people think is really hip is like when you're singing or rapping or whatever, it's saying not just like you're stuttering like you don't know what to say next, but just like that intentional do you Briantown? Do you Briantown? So yeah, did not work. Again, a couple people left after that actually.
There's a bunch of weird ones on here, man. I got to tell you.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I was a Briantown, and naughty little Briantown.
That was I was going through a weird sexual role-playing phase.
Okay.
With several of the inhabitants of the town. Annie, that short lady from Texas, and the girl with the eye thing,
Yeah. Her. Yeah. God, yeah.
And it was just it was born of that, and I really it's late night drunken sexing emails to the city council.
Yeah.
Saying, okay, here's the new slogan. I think 2 of those might have actually come from the same night.
Your next one was Splash Briantown all over.
Yeah.
Followed immediately by Briantown, better than sex.
Yeah. Well,
so, I mean...
Well, actually, the first one was because I had an oil party.
Okay.
Which, you can look that up on X-Hamster.
Don't do it.
YouPorn, RedTube.
Don't do it.
All those. Do it. Just do it. But that was kind of the inspiration for it. It's just because I was... At the time, I was spending a lot more time in Briantown than I do now. Just because, you want to make visits. And I was actually showing up maybe a few times a month at that point.
So you were a busy beaver.
Yeah, mostly for oil parties. But then I just I saw the folly of my ways.
Yeah.
Basically. And I started going out to the, what was left of the Interfaith Center / Recreation Center / Froyo stand. And there were some old materials left there. It was like being an archaeological dig, because the place had been abandoned for 3 or 4 months by this point. So the vines had overgrown at the kudzu, and it was half underwater, and there were just dingy things left behind. And I found this Bible, and I turned to abstinence.
Okay.
And that's why I said, well, you know what? If I can't have sex, if people can't have sex, at least they can have Briantown. And in some ways, it's even better because. Okay, it's not impossible, but it's rare to get an STD just by being in Briantown. Not impossible.
Not impossible.
Legally.
You can still do it. And he has to say that.
Yeah, the court order, the documents state that I can't say it's impossible.
Yeah.
Okay, let's not use that word. So let's just say not very possible.
Okay. Not likely.
Not likely.
Highly likely. Not likely.
But still possible. And then the next one, could you remind me of that one again?
Praise Briantown.
Praise Briantown was kind of the culmination of all that.
Yeah.
Where it went from finding religion trying desperately to understand it, sort of understanding it, and like thinking that this town was in a sense God breathed. And then finally, praise Briantown, I thought of myself and Briantown and my wallet as sort of a holy trinity.
Yeah. Okay.
And so it was more like I thought I was God. And that actually has to do more, again, if you go back a few slogans, to mushrooms.
Within the past month, before your current slogan, which is simply Briantown, yes please.
Yeah. We're trying to manners. It's all about manners.
It is about manners. You've got to have manners.
And we also want to remind people
manners.
that it's worth being polite and asking for Briantown because it's Briantown. Which actually, that's the next slogan. It's Briantown. But anyway, what's this interim one you were asking?
The month prior to Briantown, yes please, you went through. Let me see here. How many do I have here? You went through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slogans.
Oh, this was from the contest. We held a contest to come up with a new slogan.
It doesn't sound like a contest.
Well, here's the thing. We held a contest, and
I mean, are you familiar with the slogans that I'm about to give you?
Yeah, because they're mine. Because here's the thing.
Because they're yours?
Yeah, well, we had a contest, right? And,
okay.
We invited everybody to submit their ideas for the town slogan, and everybody could enter as many times as they want, and I entered 7 times, I think. And when it came down to it, we couldn't pick one, and we wound up picking 5 of them, and they were all mine because everyone else's sucks. Because these people, I love you, Briantown inhabitants, and I wish that you would not leave. But you're not good with slogans. You're not marketing people. I am. I'm a marketing person.
I gotta say, man.
I know the history of marketing. I know what works. I know that sex sells, drugs sells, violence sells.
It's funny that you said
citrus sells.
It's funny that you said violence
sells. Vanilla.
Because that's the theme I see here.
Okay.
With your last, 5 slogans.
Yeah. No, I know where it
started out really easy.
Yeah.
You've got a friend in Briantown.
Yeah.
Then it moved to nothing to worry about with Briantown.
Mm-hmm.
Then you moved to you don't want Briantown as your enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Then you moved to Briantown never sleeps.
Mm-hmm.
Then, finally, you settled on Briantown, love it or leave it. And you know what? You actually went with 6, because I completely missed Briantown, to hell with the rest.
Actually, okay, here's...
That didn't sound like a contest, man. That sounds like you were on the warpath.
No, I had been drinking.
Did you have like an enemy town?
Each one of those was written after 2 shots. Like, 2 shots of tequila, I wrote the first one. 2 more shots of tequila, I wrote the second one. And so on and so forth.
Yeah.
The 6th one... I had forgotten about that one because that was after 12 shots of tequila.
So you literally wrote Briantown to hell with the rest?
Yes, and I was
referencing the previous slogan?
Yes, exactly. To hell with the rest of the slogans. That's what I was saying because I didn't like it.
I got you. See, I'm thinking you and Basinger had beef.
No, I don't have a problem with Basinger.
You both own towns in Georgia? That's got to be an elite club of people who own towns in Georgia.
Yeah.
How many is it? It's you and Basinger?
Me, Basinger. I heard that Zac Efron owns some sort of town near Blairsville. I don't know if that's true, but Efron or Ephron, no one knows how to say it. No one cares. Efron, we're coming for you.
So now you know a little bit about Brian.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Come to Briantown.
Hey, there's some links down there. Do what you want with them.